Hey guys, this is Awesomeness once again. In the car, chilling out, doing whatever. Decided to make another video today because I'm, once again, just bored in my car on my lunch break. I'm bringing it back to wrestling this time. I think the last two were over Star Wars and football. So we're back to wrestling. Right now, in AEW, which is the promotion that I enjoy watching the most. If you've watched the previous videos, you know why. The owner of AEW also, I think sometime either last year or early this year. Can't remember exactly how long ago that was. I think it was maybe early this year. He purchased another wrestling company that has been up for sale, that had been up for sale, called Ring of Honor. Now, Ring of Honor is one of the, I guess, well-known indie wrestling companies. I at one point it was really popular. If you weren't watching bigger promotions like the WWE, for example. It was kind of like that independent wrestling spot, because Impact was there, but it was trying to be WWE. It was trying to be that same scope and scale, where Ring of Honor was just about the art of professional wrestling, more or less. I'm not like a Ring of Honor connoisseur. I just like wrestling in general. So since AEW has bought Ring of Honor, the owner has made it clear that he wants to bring Ring of Honor to a weekly television show, much like AEW has two right now, with Dynamite and Rampage. And, a lot of the bigger promotions on TV at least have a weekly show, I think. So WWE has theirs, AEW has theirs, Impact has theirs. I think technically New Japan does. At least in the States, I get ads for, every Thursday or Friday or something on Access TV, the channel. They broadcast like a cut down version of some New Japan shows. And I think Ring of Honor used to, when they were still, up and running, had some semblance of a weekly show. But anyway, regardless, AEW's made it clear that they want Ring of Honor to exist too, and they're owned by the same company and everything, and they'll be, I imagine, two separate brands. And from what I understand, it's now mid-October as I'm recording this. As far as I understand, I think next year there's supposed to be some sort of thing happening with Ring of Honor, because they've been trying to work. Apparently, they've been trying to work all year on getting some sort of TV deal and stuff. They've been running like intermittent pay-per-views, for Ring of Honor shows under the new management, which have been pretty good. Honestly, I've liked both of them. There's another one happening in December, I think, which could be where they announce their whole deal. But since it's October and that's still a couple months off, ever since they made this deal and we're going through the litigations, I've had, varying thoughts on how it would be cool, how they could do it in a sensible manner. And I'm not the end-all be-all of professional wrestling knowledge or anything like that, but I find it fun sometimes to think about how they could be doing stuff like that, and seeing how it turns out to how they actually go about it. And I'm not one of those people who, if they don't go along with my plan, there's some people out there that fantasy book themselves in whatever they want to see, and if it doesn't pan out that way, even if it's as good or better as they had in their mind, they're like still upset about it because it wasn't their way, which I don't understand, because you're just a fan. Like, you're not you're not actually a part of the show or anything that's going on, you know. But anyway, the main thing that I wanted to get to is how, in my mind, how it could be possible that they do the Ring of Honor split. I say split because I imagine a lot of the extra talent and younger talent might go to work for Ring of Honor since they're owned by the same company. So they'll kind of be like two different brands of the same company, but whatever. So here's a little roadmap of how I think they could set it up in a cool and sensible manner. Now, I don't know of anything that's going on behind the scenes, and I don't know anything about TV deals or whatever. I'm not gonna do anything like that. We're talking just if everything works my way. Here's how it would be cool. I would enjoy seeing your thoughts on how this could work too, in the comments section if you so choose. And if any of you have social media, I'm sure everything's probably worked out by now, and they're just waiting on the full thing to come together, you know, the deal to go into effect before they announce it and stuff. But if anybody's better at social media than I am, you know, Tony Khan, here you go. Here's some free booking if you want it. Anyway, I'll get to what's going on in my brain. So, as of right now, little context for people who might not watch AEW. AEW has 4 pay-per-views that it runs every year. They run All Out, they run Double or Nothing, they run Full Gear, and Revolution. And they're spaced out throughout the year. You know, they have like one in winter, one in spring, one in mid-late summer, one in the fall, you know. And as of right now, they've only been running 2 pay-per-views from Ring of Honor that Ring of Honor used to run. They ran, I believe it's Final Battle and Death Before Dishonor, I think, was the 2 pay-per-views that the AEW crew has still been intermittently throwing in there every once in a while, at least throughout this year. At least as far as I can recall. Regardless, so if AEW wants to get a weekly show running with Ring of Honor as their second brand, I guess, what I would do as of right now, I wouldn't put Ring of Honor on a different day from the 2 AEW shows that are already on. I would put, because Wednesdays are Dynamite and Fridays are Rampage for AEW. That's their weekly shows. As of right now, I think the most ethical option, just based on fan engagement and what have you, and the time slot, I would say replace Rampage with Ring of Honor, because Rampage as of right now doesn't feel like a second independent show. It just feels like the backup show, the second brand without as much direction or fun characters or whatever. As there's still some good matches on there that they throw together, but it's just not quite the same level as Dynamite is. So I would replace Rampage with your Ring of Honor weekly show. And that would be on Fridays. Now, the Rampage time slot kind of sucks. I mean, it's 10 p.m. I mean, a lot of people would probably stay up for that, but it would be cooler if they could get it at an earlier time slot. So I feel like if they were to propose replacing Rampage with Ring of Honor, which has hype behind it right now because it's going to be coming back under, you know, the new management, like, full time, and it'll bring a lot of excess AEW talent over there, as I just hit my thingy. It would bring a lot of excess talent over there. So I feel like if they were to pitch that idea as this new show that's under the same management, they might be able to get a better time slot out of it. Also expand the Rampage time slot to 2 hours like Dynamite is, because I feel like 2 hours is probably the right length for both of those. 3, you're getting a little long unless you got really good stuff going on. And if you get that long, you might be trying to fill up the time with just filler. So if they could move Ring of Honor into and replace Rampage with Ring of Honor, they might be able to both pitch that idea to replace it and also pitch the idea of getting a second hour added to it and moving the time slot to start at 9, so they would still cover the 9 o'clock hour and the 10 o'clock hour like they did, and have your Ring of Honor weekly show. And now what you can do is to take that roster that's pretty much almost exclusively on Dynamite, on AEW programming. You can add in ones that you want to move over to Ring of Honor, and then just keep them separate. I don't think we need the crossing over as much, but I'll get to the crossing over stuff, because people are going to want to see Ring of Honor talent face off against AEW talent too, but we'll keep them separate for now. So run the two shows independently. Have their own stars, have their own booking, have their own titles, which they already do have their own titles and their own, there's some stars that are left on the contract that want to come back and work for Ring of Honor again, which is cool. Here's where the pay-per-view schedule comes in, and this is probably the most exciting part for me, because I think that this could be a really effective, but also really fun in terms of fan enjoyment way to go about it. 1, keep all the AEW pay-per-views as they are, which you would think you would want to maybe change some things up between, and maybe split the Ring of Honor shows in between. Kind of, but also no. Keep all the AEW pay-per-views where they are. We got Revolution, we got Full Gear, we got All Out, we've got Double or Nothing. Full Gear and Revolution are like late fall into winter, and then the sort of coming towards the middle end of winter is when Revolution is. Keep those exactly the way they are and run those as AEW exclusive pay-per-views. AEW talent only. In between there, because that lull between November and like the end of February for AEW it's on the verge of stale by the time you get to Revolution, because in that little middle section around Christmas time, it's too long past Full Gear to continue stories, but it's too far away from Revolution to continue those stories. And I suppose my plan will probably leave that in place, but at the very least they'll have Ring of Honor to supplement. So I say put Ring of Honor shows in between, Ring of Honor exclusive pay-per-views in between the AEW ones. And you can keep Final Battle and Death Before Dishonor and put those in like December and like late January, like early December, late January. So you've got 4 pay-per-views from the company that overruns both there, but they're exclusive. They're the 2 AEW shows only have AEW talent and only AEW stories. The 2 Ring of Honor shows only have Ring of Honor talent and Ring of Honor stories. Now, when we get past the winter time, the next pay-per-view for AEW after that is Double or Nothing. And both Double or Nothing at the beginning of summer, in like late spring, early summer, and All Out towards the end of summer into maybe early fall. I think usually they're at like the beginning of September. both of those shows are always marketed as the bigger pay-per-views, the more important pay-per-views, Double or Nothing and All Out, the big shows in the summertime, which is fine, and they're usually pretty good. I say we don't do Ring of Honor pay-per-views outside of the winter months, and we make, since Double or Nothing and All Out are bigger shows, Double or Nothing and All Out should be co-ed shows, meaning that both Ring of Honor and AEW talent compete on those shows. Now, we're still keeping them separate. We're not having inter-promotional matches here. I think that's important. Maybe once in a blue moon, but I think they should be kept really separate. Ring of Honor talent and their biggest stories and biggest championships can be on the show. And then AEW's talents and the biggest stories and biggest championships can also be on the show. And that, so if they want to make those two pay-per-views the bigger extravaganzas that they advertise them to be, then right there you've got a ton of matches from two different separate independent promotions from one another that you can stack the card with in both situations, which I think will bode a lot better, because there are some situations where they try to stack these cards full of matches, but then to cut down on time, either story matches don't go as long as you would want them to, or there's some matches that you just feel like, why is that even there? Because the only reason it's there is just to make it longer so people feel like they're getting more for their money. I'm less on the side of more matches equals more money. I'm more on the side of quality equals more money. And that is where the two shows can, the two brands can combine on those two big events to have a much more higher, I don't want to say like higher brow, because it's not like a class thing. It's like a much more stacked show that they would want it to for the bigger events as they advertise it. So I say that those two shows, the talent from each brand should still be kept separate. They should compete in matches against their other talent in those brands, but just have them all on one show to create a bigger show effect. There should be one match on each show that does feature both. And they do these every year too. They have the Casino Ladder match, I think usually at All Out, and they have the Casino Battle Royale at Double or Nothing. Just make those, just make those your only co-ed matches where the talents from each brand can intermingle, I guess. Because in the Casino Battle Royale, the winner gets a guaranteed shot at the championship at a later date, usually a predetermined date, I think. And then in the Casino Ladder match, whoever brings down the chip gets a anywhere, anytime shot at the championship. So I feel like you can say the Battle Royale has 20 entrants, or 21 entrants, 10 from AEW, 10 from Ring of Honor, and a Joker, which they always like to do the Joker thing, the mystery entrant. In the Casino Ladder match, you can have let's say like a nine-man ladder match for AEW, 4 Ring of Honor, 1 Joker. And then whichever brand's guy wins that match, they can take it to their brand and challenge for the world championship in their brand. Which I think could be really cool. Now, past those, there's one more show that I think should be added on, and they did it this year, and it was really cool. And I imagine they would want to do it again, is the Forbidden Door pay-per-view, which the Forbidden Door pay-per-view is what they set up. AEW did this year with New Japan Pro Wrestling to do a co-ed pay-per-view there, where it was just, a bunch of AEW talents taking on New Japan guys in dream matches from both promotions. So, I feel like, how about Forbidden Door is the all-out, go crazy, go nuts show with the booking. That's your, whatever crazy dream matches we can come up with, just toss them on there. Just whatever works, because people will eat that up. And especially if the like the stories and stuff and everything with the other pay-per-views are good, they won't care so much about, let's just have wrestling matches for fun for one night, Let's just toss them in there. Let's see what they can do. They're our best, the best from AEW, the best from New Japan, the best from Ring of Honor. And if they want to expand it further from there, they could probably get some more independent promotions on it and just make it this all-in show. And kind of what started AEW to begin with was a show called All In. So that's the show where everyone goes nuts and everybody can have whatever match against whoever they want. So I think that plan overall sounds pretty good to me. That's how they want to set that up. Now, like I said, I'm not a logistical, resource person. Like, I know it would take a lot of money and planning and business deals and whatever else to get all that going. But if they could do it that way, that would be, in my eyes, that would be really cool. Now, will it turn out that way? Probably not. They'll probably do something different. But I feel like to keep things streamlined but as entertaining for fans who either want to watch one or the other or both, I think that could be a decent system. Probably. So that's my fantasy booking for today. I probably won't upload this until, I'm recording this on a Thursday, so I probably won't upload it till Friday. I'm not usually the one to like rant on about fantasy booking things. There's channels that like to do that with wrestling, and I'm not really the fantasy booker type most of the time, but today I felt like I should lay that plan out to a camera instead of just keeping it in my mind. So that's the scoop for today. Tell me what you think about it in the comments. If you like it or don't like it or want to pitch additions or changes or whatever else, go for it. Mountain Dew review, got some Baja Blast from Taco Bell today. It's good. That's all I can really say about it. Peace.